Yeah, it's not Yargle. It's not Yargle. I'll save you all from your torment. Here it is. We have THRULL Parasite. THRULL Parasite. So this commander is a 1 mana extort creature with a nearly useless secondary ability, and it's in mono black. Extort doesn't cause the color to change. The white black is reminder text. Uh, THRULL Parasite was shared on Twitter by Brad Drac V of the PDH Pod, also the server owner for the Pauper Guild in Discord. And he posted this, and I think that I had always been so focused on the extort creatures at common that I'd never bothered to look to see if there was anything at uncommon. And I've often thought that extort was like a better version of what Witherbloom Apprentice has stapled onto it with Magecraft. Mainly because Witherbloom Apprentice would still be a powerful and reasonable commander, even if it didn't have the word copy in it. The copy part of it is just like kind of part of it's like to me it's always been kind of like a bonus, right? And so I've always thought, man, it feels like when people put extort in their deck, it feels like they just have a copy of Witherbloom Apprentice, but better because you're gaining 1 life for every 1 life lost. So you're gaining 3, draining 1 from everybody at a meager cost of 1 black um, or white. And what the difference is here is that THRULL Parasite is going to extort off of every single spell in our entire deck. And this is one of the places where I've always felt some tension with Witherbloom Apprentice, which is that you have. Um, I would like to be playing mana rocks instead of traditional green ramp spells because I'm of the mind that building with mana rocks tends to be better. They come into play mostly untapped. They make any color of mana, and they feed into secondary game plans. If you're in blue, then they feed into Thoughtcast. If you're in black, they feed into cranial plating. I'm a really big fan of having a secondary cranial plating backup plan or even a primary plan. You know, if you're just ramping to a reasonable degree and you have 15 or more artifacts in your deck, then cranial plating can turn a potato into a cruise missile, and that's what we want. And so I really like the idea of extort over magecraft because it allows us to essentially magecraft or to get that extort trigger off of our mana rocks, which in Witherbloom Apprentice, you get most of the ramp spells, you do get the trigger. But the reality is, like, I would prefer to be playing mana rocks in those slots. And then it's possible that you could have like a cranial plating in there. But the real reason I want the mana rocks is because they generate value. They draw cards when you sacrifice them, they exile graveyards, they loot, or it's looting with Network Terminal. They draw cards like with Bonder's Ornament. They can filter with Lantern of Revealing. There's just a lot of utility slapped onto mana rocks that you don't get when you're playing a card like Grow from the Ashes, Sky Shroud's Claim, things like that. And personally, I just prefer playing with rocks. So the idea with THRULL Parasite was we can do that. And we can play THRULL Parasite turn 1, and it's really going to be on turn 3, because if you went like the earliest you could do it would be turn 2 with maybe something like Okiba Reckoner Raid, which is the Saga for 1. You could Saga for 1 and then pay the extort, which would be pretty cool. But on turn 3, we can immediately start extorting off of everything we do. The commander is so cheap that it's going to be a very like unappealing target for removal, because this commander is just going to get recast, and it's just going to get recast, and it's going to continue to buffer our life total. And the idea here is to just play grindy mono black stacks. This is going to be black Witherbloom. Bunch of mana rocks, bunch of draw, cranial plating for a backup, bunch of random good black stuff that generates value, comes back from the graveyard, recurs from our graveyard, and that's it. That secondary ability has like maybe 2 interactions that I care about. So the interaction I was thinking about with THRULL Parasite and the sagas, and this is not why we're playing the deck, but it's one thought, um, is that you can play a saga and keep it on a single track the entire time. So it's only, I believe it's only Okiba Reckoner Raid. So with Okiba Reckoner Raid, we can essentially like pay 1 life, tapping our Thrall to continually drain for 1 per turn with Okiba Reckoner Raid if we don't care about the creature. So it costs us 1 life, but it's draining everybody for 1. So that's an interaction that's in the deck, I think, because we will probably play Okiba Reckoner Raid. It's just a very cheap and efficient way to drain. The other thing is that it's a non-land permanent, so we could remove counters from like an Everflowing Chalice. That's one of the things I was thinking about too, or maybe remove a counter from a Soul Stare Expedition or a Colony Garden, or yeah, I don't know. There's some random shit you can do, but like this is literally not why we're playing this. This is Thrall Parasite is a 1 mana extort. That's all it is. Anthony says could be Orzhov too for enchantment removal as black is a harder thing. Yeah, so let's take a quick look here at gonna go here back to presentation, and we're gonna go type creature O extort rarity common, and there's a couple of them, like 4 I think. But there's more. This is rarity common. I meant to do uncommon. Yeah, 3. So, but and these are great because they, I mean, like Vizkopa Confessor giving you another color is nice. But look, like 5 mana, 4 mana, 1 mana. Yeah. I think we just play Thrall Parasite and we suck up the fact that we're not going to have like actual factual break ties or disenchant or things like that. We'll have like Debt to the Kami, Yargle. We'll have Debt to the Kami. We'll have, Feed the Swarm. We could play all sorts of stuff. Now, just to keep this super fresh, you can see I haven't done anything. I don't even have any considering cards in here. So this is going to be just raw dog, fresh off the skillet, hype new thing. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this is kind of like, in a way, it's like Passageway Seer versus Real Surreal in some ways, like where when I first made that switch over to Passageway Seer, which I've now kind of switched back from, it was like, oh, this is the pure, most efficient way to get that effect, is to be like, play the cheapest initiative creature you can and just focus hard on that. And this is kind of feels like that for Witherbloom. You're going to have less tech in the sense that you're going to have less like, of like the Monvuli Acid Moss. You're going to not have the storm spells. You're not going to do it as quickly. You're not going to kill people nearly as quickly. But like Witherbloom Apprentice, that shouldn't be your focus anyways. And it's just going to do it every game on turn 1. Which is, that consistency is amazing. That's really one of the things about Passageway Seer that really appealed to me was, yeah, like turn 3 Passageway Seer, 95% of your games is like a really good way to increase your win percentage because it's just such a consistency increasing thing to do. I'm going to just do a quick adjustment to my camera here. Yeah, so let's get started here. There's cards that we're just like not gonna leave at home, and they're all the board wipes. So we're gonna start with the classics of Pestilence, Crypt Rats. These are also like, just like in Witherbloom Apprentice, these are gonna serve as closers as well. We're gonna have tons of mana, and we're just gonna be able to blow up the board and kill our opponents. Gotta get this filthy white border out of here. Get that Urza Saga art. So these are going to act as closers as well. So these are going to be great. Let's get our mana rocks in there. So I think it's going to be Arcane Signet. It's going to be Felwar Stone. And the nice thing about all this is that if we pack our deck with like a lot of these rocks that generate value, These are going to be amazing late game top decks still because we'll be able to cast them, extort them. If we really need to, we can just like cantrip and draw a card. So I'm really excited about this particular approach here and just like making all of our draws good in the late game. Whereas like in Witherbloom Apprentice, it's like less exciting when you get the ramp spells later on in the game. You really just want like all the draw at that point. So we've got that. We could do Prismatic Lens, because I think 2 mana rocks are going to be premium here. So actually, we're going to do function, ramp, type artifact, CMC equals 2. You know, the funny thing is we could even play Springleaf Drum in this deck because our commander is so cheap. That's another way that we could do turn 2 on that. Fractured Power Stone, probably not. Guardian Idol is great. We're definitely going to play that. And it doesn't even, it can be a creature too, which is great. So like Ornithopter of Paradise is going to be awesome here. I really like Ornithopter in part because it's a creature that flies. And so when you're playing Cranial Plating in your deck, it gives you a way to just like slap this on and just like go to work. Star Compass is good. Yep. So this is a good start here. Okay. And then let's do Springleaf. Yeah, Sarah's in THRULL Parasite. You know what, Ryan? You got me good. I was half and half, but I couldn't put it together. Yeah, you know, it's pretty difficult, like with so many different possibilities to guess exactly what it would be. But yeah, this is the one. This is the commander. And again, this was, you know, Brad had posted on this on Twitter. And if you all want, you know, more of my inner thought processes, my commentary and stuff, Twitter is a great place to follow me. You can get me there at Pauper. I know a lot of you probably don't use it. I just recently started using it for the channel, but I just post there almost daily with different thoughts. It's a good place to get some of that stuff. So, so yeah, that's I did write about it there. That was the one place where if I'd given you all a hint and said, "Oh, you can find it here," you probably would have gotten it. So, Bonder's Ornament. This is another one of those weird things where like we're going to be playing a deck with a very cheap commander and lots of ramp because the deck is not so much around the commander, it's around just being a good mono black deck that's going to have this extort win condition sitting in the command zone. And mono black does like to have a lot of mana. It likes to like recur its creatures. It likes to have big value plays. It likes to have lots of devotion. So Bonder's Ornament, Network Terminal. We're going to have Honored Heirloom. Got to get Gay Rock in there. Absolutely. This is going to be under draw as well as ramp. Ramp. Oops, got to capitalize that there. Little OCD things. Okay, so now that we've got this in here, we can go Bonder's Ornament in both categories. Honored Heirloom, which is also going to go under Graveyards, which I misspelled. Lovely. There we go. And then we've got Ramp. We go Mind Stone, Guardian Idol, Belwar Stone. We're probably going to play. The other one is called Fountain of Ichor. I've been a big fan of these lately. This one and Guardian Idol are 2 mana rocks that animate to become creatures. And so they can be animated. In this case, it's a little bit less important because we don't care if our commander dies. We're just going to recast it. Doesn't matter. But when the board is swept and somebody establishes, you know, Monarch or Initiative, the Fountain of Ichor and the Guardian Idol can be animated to reclaim it while nobody has any creatures. And that is exceptionally powerful. It can mean that you like spent 3 mana to hit somebody for 3, and then you're probably going to sit on the Monarch or the Initiative for like 2 to 3 turns, if not the rest of the game, because nobody has any creatures. So, so yeah, that's all really good. And then now that we've got a good ramp package, I don't think we need much more than that. We're going to do the classics. We're going to do Sign in Blood. We're going to do Night's Whisper. We're going to do read the bones. All of these, of course, are going to gain us life when we extort them, which is great. Boom, boom. We're also going to play Village Rites because with a 1-mana commander, why not? In a lot of ways, this is going to be kind of like having like Rogue Rack or something like that, where we can just sack it. Like we just don't care. Just do not care. I think for the meantime, I like the Okiba Reckoner raid. It's basically like what this is reading is we don't have like okay. It's a cheap, efficient way to drain. We may find that this is like too cheap, that we actually want to have like higher value stuff. But similar to Witherbloom Apprentice, where I've been experimenting with cards like Vampire Spawn, um, basically like Vampire Spawn in Witherbloom Apprentice is like a body that is doing the Magecraft anyways. So if you think about that, like it doesn't need to be an instant or a sorcery because it's doing that anyways while giving us a body. So if a body is premium, and it is in this format, like bodies are incredibly important, then this is a body that generates Magecraft twice, which is great. And in this context here, it's like it's doing extort. But more importantly, like this is also pressuring our opponent. So a deadly dispute. Yep. Good deadly dispute. We got deadly dispute in there as well. Good advice there. And then under creatures, and then untagged artifacts. This is a creature, so we can take this out of untagged artifacts. There we go. Good, so we've got those there. We're also going to want Siphon Mind. Yeah, and drop your recommendations in chat if you have thoughts. We're going to do this together, and we're gonna run it right through and see where we get. So, okay, deadly dispute. Okay, we're going to want all of the initiative in the monarch in this, to the surprise of no one. Under dark. Anytime. There we go. Thorn of the Black Rose. These cards are just like all so well suited to this plan. They've got like big toughnesses. They generate repeat value. They work well with our sweepers. They help keep Pestilence in play. It's just we want these. It's kind of why there's like a deck building pattern around black that tends to include these things. Not to mention the fact that you have all these ways to protect them with the Mass Edicts. So we are going to be playing those too. So Fleshbag Marauder, and like I said right at the beginning of this conversation, this is not a complicated deck. This is smooth brain shit. Oh yeah, for sure. We've got Kryn saying, "I can't believe I wasn't playing Initiative and Lagrella." Yeah, so Initiative and Flicker decks can work out really nicely because you can use the Initiative as a finisher. You just go through it infinite times. You get all the creatures out of your deck, but most importantly, you just trap them for 5. It's an actual win condition. So yeah, and with the Initiative too, something you can do is you can allow the Initiative to go away from you, and if people aren't attacking you, then it can be a distraction. The only way that backfires is if you are actually the problem, then the trap and the forge are going to get you dead. So it is a double-edged sword, but it's something you can do. Initiative, just like getting you a land, it really helps smooth out your curve. So yeah, Fleshbag Marauder, Slum Reaper, and then we've got Chain Devil. Yeah, this is just like just a who's who. We can even play Innocent Blood here because Thrall Parasite's only 1 mana. We can play Miracle. I've had to learn how to spell this one. Miracles Edict. There we go. We just like we're gonna be taxing the board in every possible way we can. We're gonna make it miserable. This is not a deck that cares to even win quickly. Yeah, Blood Fountain, great idea. Yep, let's get that in here. Of course, it's going to be Tortured Existence as well, because this goes so well with like our creature heavy plan. Recursion, and we'll get the other recursion effects in there too. But we'll just focus on this first. Draw. This is like just the purest stacks. I love it. I love it. Slum Reaper. And then we've got Thorn of the Black Rose, which is going to be a creature. Draw. And then we've got Vicious Battle Rager, which is just going to go under creatures. Creatures. Oops. Draw. And creatures. Okay. And I don't usually put Vicious Battle Rager under draw and Underdark Explorer under draw, but they really are. I mean, they draw you a card right off the bat, and then they draw you more cards later on. So it's true. Okay, so we have 37 cards. Let's just put in 34 swamps right off the get-go. Just get that done. Evan Carr's Justice as well is going to come in as a sweeper. I know we're bouncing all over the place here. We're just getting the good staples black cards in here. Spinning Darkness is kind of a bitch to track, but yep. Defile. As you saw in the thumbnail, I was kind of thinking Corrupt would be sweet. I think that it doesn't. There's not a ton of decks that you want Corrupt in. Because it's, oh, that's a really sweet new art. But honestly, like this old one has always been the coolest. So Corrupt is a removal spell, but it's a really bad one in a lot of ways. Like it's sorcery speed, it's 6 mana. But what I really like Corrupt for is it's just a boom headshot. Like you get to a point in the game, you look at someone and you say, you're dead. Die. Pew. And I think that there's some value to that. The life gain is like no joke either. Obviously, yeah, like Counterspell makes you waste your 6 mana spell, but like we're going to be mostly swamps. The Transmute Tutor. So the only one that we're going to play, Anthony Canese, that's a good idea, is going to be Dimir Houseguard. And the reason for that is that Dimir Houseguard, like, well, okay, so we could play Shred. Shred Memory hits Cranial Plating. That's the best thing it hits. Shred Memory also hits Sign in Blood, Night's Whisper, Deadly Dispute. It hits Miracle's Edict for an Edict effect. So like what I'm oftentimes doing with a tutor is thinking about what mana costs do I have where there's a unique effect that I really care about. Cranial Plating is a good one, but I think Cranial Plating is very secondary to the deck. It's going to be a thing that we can do simply by the fact that we're going to have like 22 artifacts in the deck. And so like we'll just be able to put this on like some random shit and just like and just win with it. Like that's really what Cranial Plating is super good at, is just like taking something really shitty and making it dangerous. So that's good. So we've got that. And we've got our 34 lands. Hey, what's up, Islane? How you doing? You all should know that Islane, and it's on the not on the schedule yet, but Islane and I are planning on doing a Let's Build on Thursday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I've got it. Islane, you and I got to do some exchanging of marketing materials. Send me some of your like a headshot and some stuff, and we'll get that put on the calendar. Yeah, for Rasad Sword Coast Sailor. Rasad is the Doran siege tower of the format, and yeah, and any logos and stuff like that, just send me the PNGs of that. Omen of the Dead is interesting. It's a little bit lower value than I think we want to do. I think we can go way bigger. Something like Death Denied could be an option. Like, you know, big. Like I think we're gonna have like 20 or more creatures. Let's get Gray Merchant in here. Gray Merchant of Asphodel. I also really, and this might look like a funny card, but I really liked the stat. Okay, so I really value stacking functions. And what I mean by that is that you're getting multiple layers of value that are dynamic in that they like can do lots of different things or they do lots of different things at once. So I really like modal spells. And increasingly, even when a card doesn't say choose, I start to look at cards as is this modal. Diregraph Scavenger is modal. It is Death Touch, which is a big deal. It's going to disincentivize people attacking us. It's going to be hard to block. When it enters the battlefield, you're going to get an exile effect, which can be relevant, picking off an important spell, and it's going to drain if you hit a creature. So if you need to just gain some life, this does it. It's on a 2/3 body, so it works well with the Pestilence for 2. This is a card that I've been increasingly playing more of, so I like that. This kind of goes hand in hand with the Vampire Spawn. Dimir Houseguard is also supremely playable, and the reason why I put this in the list versus like other tutors is because 4 CMC for black is just so good. So let's quickly review what you can get at 4 mana in black. You can get Graveyard Hate with Diregraph Scavenger. You can get Monarch. You can get Initiative. You can get Siphon Mind. Okay. You can get Slum Reaper. You can get Chain Devil. You can get Snuff Out. If you literally just need a kill spell, it's 3 mana to transmute. You get the Snuff Out, you pay the 4 life. Now, that's not good, but it's very modal. It's in a pinch, it can be exactly what you need. You can get Pestilence, which is the biggest one. Yeah, Zonko is totally right. Pestilence is like the main reason we've got this. But if it was just Pestilence, that actually wouldn't be good enough for me. Because it's 7 mana. Pestilence is already very expensive, but what Guard is doing is it's like finding us basically any effect we could ever need, and that's worth it. So we play Dimir Houseguard all the time. The other thing is that Dimir Houseguard, when you transmute it into your graveyard, when you're discarding it, it works really, really well with Tortured Existence because you can discard it in and then do the stuff. So okay, so Death Denied. I don't know how deep we're going to go into this, but we'll see. I think we're just gonna play these. Phyrexian Rager. I was kind of thinking about Audacious Thief as another option. So let's do type creature O draw. There's like First Sphere Garganta, which is really good. I don't know about Dusk Legion Zealot. This might not be good enough for here. This is actually great because if we pay 1 to extort it, then no, actually, this doesn't work. So you'd have to have extorted earlier in the turn to get that effect. I was kind of thinking Audacious Thief. I've been really happy with this card, but the context I've been playing Audacious Thief in is where I'm giving it Death Touch. And so I don't know. I think First Sphere Garganta is great. Big fan of that. Scrapwork Rager, also a big fan. These unearth cards work really, really well with our edicts because we can like unearth them. It's uncounterable. They have haste. We can like go in and get the initiative of the monarch, and then we can like sacrifice them to the edict effect and then keep the edict creature. So I'm big on Scrapwork Rager and on First Sphere, even though like on rate they're a little bit below rate. Getting 2 uses of them and 2 cards is fantastic. Vulturous Haven is amazing. I really like Vulturous Haven because it's a strong form of card advantage that we can just get off of the Throne of the Dead 3. So this can come in, sack a creature, it's a Night's Whisper. It's also a flyer. So it's like 3 toughness, it's a flyer, it's evasive, it draws cards. Big on this one here. Unwilling Ingredient, not so much. Is there anything with Defender that we want in here? Because we could play something like Shield Wall Sentinel to tutor for it. Like Gibbering Barricade is one of the newer cards here where you can sack creatures to draw cards. Yeah, Ravamati, he says, damn, I was way off, LOL. Yeah, dude. No, everybody was, basically. There were a couple people who mentioned that. Oh, Anthony Kinese, Big Fish. Yeah, sorry, you said this earlier. So let's get... let me think about that, actually. I don't know if we want Gurmag Angler. Like, I've not been playing Gurmag Angler in a lot of my decks lately because the trouble is that in black, we actually have a lot to do with that graveyard. We have, part of what makes black card advantage so strong is that when you start using the Reaping the Graves and the Death Denied, these become really massive draw spells. And Gurmag Angler is suited best for a deck where you are filling your graveyard really rapidly. And my experience with Gurmag Angler recently is that I'm frequently drawing it when I don't have anything in the graveyard. And it feels really bad. It's like I'm casting this 5/5 for like 5 mana or like 6 mana or something. It just so I don't think we're gonna play Gurmag Angler. Kryn asking about Dark Ritual, and yeah, and we're on Tortured Existence, but it's not just that. We've got Tortured Existence, we've got Blood Fountain, we've got Mortuary Mire, Witch's Cottage, Haunted Fengraf. I mean, it's just like a huge amount of graveyard interaction. So I don't think we play Gurmag Angler. I think it's better suited for like a Dimir deck or something. But yeah, Gibbering Barricade is one of them. What else do we have here? Is there anything else we care about? Because Shield Wall Sentinel is a colorless way to pick up tutor up a defender. One that is interesting is actually there's a black wall that has pro black. Yeah, Cemetery Gate. This would be an interesting one to play. Cemetery Gate allows us to keep Pestilence in play forever, and it's also a 0/5 that dies to nothing. It dies to Unholy Heat, which nobody plays. It dies to Skred. It dies to Swirling Sandstorm. Like just nothing that's like super universal or common. I mean Skred, sure, but like, you know, Skred's a pretty premium removal spell, and I guess if you were in a pinch and you needed to get rid of the Pestilence, this would be one way to do it. We might just play Cemetery Gate anyways. This will be an iffy one. I don't think Cemetery Gate and Gibbering Barricade is good enough for Shield Wall Sentinel to make its way into the deck, but we can look into that. Okay, so we've got some stuff here. Got more draw and more creatures. More draw, more creatures, and more draw. Okay. And we're going to leave this stuff untagged that we're not sure about, like the Sokiba and whatnot. Let's just look up. I want to see how deep this goes. Evasion. Oh my god, it works. Okay, that's insane. So cool. Basilica Screecher, just having like more than one copies of Extort in play is great. We're happy to do that. We could even play something weird like Sky Scanner, which has actually made its way into a number of my decks. Cadaver Imp is great. Increasingly, I've been wanting to put Cadaver Imp in decks just like Liliana Spectre. So even when I'm not doing mass discard stuff or major recursion stuff, like a inexpensive, evasive ETB value creature is really good in this format when you're playing with like in these mono black decks, particularly with like cranial plating and stuff. Yeah, Sky Scanner is like very reasonable. I actually kind of like Sky Scanner more than I do Phyrexian Rager. Phyrexian Rager is like been kind of outclassed in some ways by that stuff. So we could do something like Changeling Outcast, because we'll have lots of blockers, but this allows us to get in unblockably. So let's throw that in considering. These don't really play well with our sweepers, but they are a nice way to apply pressure. Very Macabre. Falconwrath Noble. It's funny, I was just at the shop today, and I was picking up a copy of Ghastly Gloom Hunter, which is in Rilsarail, because an evasive life-linking creature that picks up +5/+0 is really good, and the kicker is like not unreasonable to make it a 3/3 flyer. And so yeah, I've been hyped on this card. Even though it's funny, this is just like a very meh card in so many ways, but yeah, you put it in the right context and it's damn good. Um, Liliana Spectre, I think we are going to play. I don't know how deep we go into the discard. Um, we could play the cheap discard creatures as well. I don't really like leaning heavily into like these cheap creatures if our main game plan is to eventually resolve a sweeper. Pilgrim's Eye is also kind of in that vein as an evasive ETB value creature, just getting a basic. This is a card that Derek from the Pauper Commander RC often likes to put in decks, just helps like smooth out your curve. Like drawing a land is like worse later on than drawing a card, I think. But yeah, so you know, like, but it's better earlier on, I would say, in a lot of cases. Okay. Okay. How many cards are in this particular? Okay, we're getting to the bottom. Oh, where is Vampire Sovereign? I want that card in this deck. Street Wraith is kind of funny. Swamp Walk is probably decent right now. All right, Vampire Sovereign. I have been looking for a home for like a good home for this deck, and this is one of them. 3/4 evasive creature with ETB drain. It is everything that we want. Okay, so we're at 93 cards. This might go pretty quick, in all honesty, which isn't a terrible thing. Siege Rhino. This is a new. This is a new. Wait. Oh. Sorry, chat. I know Siege Rhino. It's the 4 mana 3/4 that drains when it ETBs. Yeah. No, you're totally right, Kryn. That it is a Siege Rhino. Yeah. Yep. Good call. Yeah, that's funny. The thing is, the flying is just like huge here too. I was like Siege Rhino. It's like I thought there's like a black Rhino card, isn't there? I think it was uncommon rarity. There's an uncommon black unearthed Rhino that just got printed, and that's what I was thinking of. So Oubliette is not in the deck. I ought to be tossed in there for forgetting. But that's what I've got you all here for. Be my backup hard drive, my secondary brain space. One of the reasons I actually really like the Fairy Macabre as well is this is another like modal spell, right? Like it's an evasive 2/2. It's got double black pips, which is nice, but that exile ability is like uncounterable. And off of Throne of the Dead 3, I have like killed people with like a 5/5 Fairy Macabre. You know, it's just a good card. I tend to look for other forms of graveyard hate that have some other form of modal value, like and we could still play it in here like Rotten Reunion, because Rotten Reunion makes bodies that we can sacrifice, and we can sacrifice them to Reckoner's Bargain, to Village Rites, to a Deadly Dispute. We can sacrifice them to the Edict, so we can keep the Edict creature. We can sacrifice them instead of sacrificing something we want if somebody else is using an Edict on us. And we can use them to also gain the initiative of the Monarch. So I like that, and the modality is important. And so the modality of Fairy Macabre is that you can flip it off of Throne of the Dead 3. It's an evasive 2/2 flyer. It's got double black pips, and then sometimes you're going to use it as graveyard hate. Cadaver Imp is going to go in here. Cadaver Imp, of course, is also going to go under recursion. So you can see there is going to be quite a bit of recursion in this deck. We're going to have the other copy of the Silica Screecher there. Free 4/4 Mirror Enforcer. Do we have enough artifacts to do that? So if I go and add, so let's do the one that we do play is Vault of Whispers. I think we're going to be at like 25, which maybe that's actually good enough. So Vault of Whispers, we actually do play Darksteel Citadel, and that might seem weird. It's like, why do you play that? Because having lands that we can sacrifice to our Reckoner's Bargain and our Deadly Dispute, just like built into our mana base, is very free in this mono black deck. So let's do that. And then we're also going to have, so yeah, so if we did Sojourner's Companion and Mirror Enforcer, that would put us up to 23 artifacts. Yeah, that's probably enough for it to be okay. I just wonder if there's something else that would be like more premium in that slot. Like I was kind of thinking about like Siphon, no Blood Tithe. These are basically spells that are just the extort. That's an option. We don't really have enough removal in the deck, so I think we need to do that first. So it's going to be a Victim of Night, like these slots, you know, for Drain Life. I think instead of Drain Life, we want to do something that hits everybody, and I think our copy of Drain Life is Corrupt. We also should play Tendrils of Corruption as well. Just another Tendrils of Corruption here is the 4 mana, only hits creatures, but it's instant speed, so it's pretty good. Victim of Night, we're going to do Grasp of Darkness. Oh, I hate the art on this card. It's just got to be, you got to switch it over to the alien getting, or the alien, the angel getting pulled down by the Ichor. I find that very flavorful and timely. Yep, we got Defile. Got Defile here. Good call. Cemetery Gate is probably not going to make the cut. I don't know that Reckoner Raid will make the cut either. Although the funny thing is, like, Reckoner Raid is basically a 1 mana version of Vampire Spawn. So if we're playing Vampire Spawn, then like Reckoner Raid is in there too. It's just the Reckoner Raid is a little bit slow, or is it? No, it's actually just way better because we can attack on turn 4 as soon as we can attack with this. But that's the same for Vampire Spawn. So I think we play it. Just a body with Drain on it. We probably need some more removal here because we are going to be kind of a late game control deck. What else would we want? I mean, there's Syndicate Enforcer, which is the other extort card, but Syndicate Enforcer is so much worse. Suffocating Fumes, yeah, we could do Suffocating Fumes. Suffocating Fumes is very like targeted, and I think that maybe during this current meta right now, this is good because we can just cycle it at the very least. Yeah, Arms of Hadar would be my pick instead because Arms of Hadar actually kills. Like, okay, so Suffocating Fumes is good against Elf Ball strategies, but particularly it would be more about like the incidental elves that people play that ramp, like your, you know, Arbor Elves, and it's great against Gretchen. Suffocating Fumes hits most of the things in Gretchen, and it draws a card. But Arms of Hadar is like, and actually, there's even better than Arms of Hadar, but it hits our stuff too. So maybe it's not better, but it hits everyone, and that's Eye Blight Massacre. And I don't think we need to play. Yeah, this one hits all non-elf creatures, so it's kind of ironic it like doesn't hit the elves, but it does hit everything else. My main concern is Gut. These the Gut decks are very fast. They apply a lot of pressure. I don't think we're worried about dying to Gut because Thrall Parasite can draw can gain us so much life. So maybe we don't need to go super deep into that. We have to keep in mind we have 5 edicts here. We actually could play Rottide Garganta as well in this role, and Rottide Garganta is a nice upgrade for Thrall Parasite if we want to just do that. So like I want to have like about 20 pieces of interaction. So there's 13, 14, 15, 16. So Eye Blight Massacre. We have to keep in mind we have Diregraph, Dimir Houseguard for Pestilence, Evankar's Justice. So I don't think we need to run for this or for Suffocating Fumes. We have a lot of draw. Just a lot of draw. I'm going to put Fountain of Ichor and Guardian Idol under creatures too, just to get a sense of the threat density. These two removal spells are slow, so we have Cast Down? We don't. And we don't have Doomblade. And Executioner's Capsule. You know, this would be a cool place too to do Seal of Doom as well. Could be an option. These onboard removal spells are really powerful. I don't even think we're gonna get Death Denied because our card draw is just like, it's so good. Like we've already, this is covered. 17 is a lot. Yeah, Seal of Doom, that would put us up to 12. 15, that would put us up to 20. Go for the throat, thank you. Yep, good call. Good call. Make sure also to switch up your printings when you bring these in, just in case you're coming on the stream, because the spell table does not recognize the 40k cards. So yeah, that's good there. I think Seal of Doom probably doesn't make the cut then. Yeah, I mean, Seal of Doom is basically the same thing as Capsule, except that you don't need mana to activate it, which in some ways is like better. You know, you just play it out there, and then it's like manaless. Manaless stuff is so good. So we could like try it. That puts us up to 13, 16, 21 pieces of interaction. I mean, look at this. We're at 100 cards, you know? So we get the basics in here, Witch's Cottage, Haunted, Fengraf, Bojuka Bog, Opal Palace, Study Hall. You can see I've done this a couple of times. Yeah, Piranha Marsh. No, we're not going to go that deep. 27 swamps, man. We're just going to be consistent. Love it. I need to look real quick at Passageway Seer and look at the mana base here. Oh yeah, we've got more. Yeah, so like Barrenmore, yep, just like you recommended, Anthony. We could play Polluted Mire, Tokasha's Dig Site, and Quicksand. I think Barrenmore at the very least, but I don't think we need to go as deep as running Polluted Mire because we already draw a lot of cards. So I think this is a pretty reasonable place to be. We don't need Cave of Temptation. We have 1, 2, 3 cards that don't make black. These can filter for black. Most of this produces black. Are there any other mana rocks that we're missing? I mean, 14 feels like a good number. Let's just give her a rip. This is not a good opener. This is a great opener. No mana rock, but that's okay. So, actually, let's just go into. Oh, I forgot that playtest streaming doesn't. One of these days, I'll get this figured out where I can have where I can show the edge over here. But it's just the way I've got my Mox field set up so that it kind of keeps the view. Yeah, a Sphere would be an option too, but I think at 14 mana rocks, we're probably fine. That's like Passageway Seer numbers. So so we're, let's see, do we draw for turn? We have not drawn for turn. So we'll draw. That's a great draw. So we'll go Thrall, and just like turn 1 Thrall. Yeah, I think this is going to prove to be really good. And I think what we're going to do here is go yeah, let's just get this out. And then 3, now we can go I think that we've got enough spells in hand that we're just going to run out the Honored Heirloom and not focus on the trigger. And actually, let's get these scooted over so you all can actually see them. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I think in that early game here, because we got the 3 mana, we're just going to run it out so we have enough mana to go Study Hall, Vicious Battle Rager, and Extort, or we could double Extort the Phyrexian Rager. But you can see here, like, we're going to rapidly start making this Cranial Plating good. So untap, we're going to go Study Hall 1, 2, 3, Phyrexian Rager, paying 1, 2 for Extort, drain 2, gain 6, which just feels like cheating. Draw a card. Yeah. And then, okay. So this is amazing, by the way. This feels great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 for the double Extort. Cast this. Go and get a Swamp. Put that into our hand. Currently at this stage, we're sitting at 41 life. 41 life on turn 5. So next turn, we probably have to block with some stuff. So I think we probably block with the Thrall and the Phyrexian Rager. Just to keep that. Although it's turn 5, like we probably just have to block with like these two maybe. So let's just assume the Phyrexian Rager dies. Somebody just, I mean, there's a good chance we just hold it there. Like a 1/5 just doesn't. Yeah, but let's just assume we had to block. I like to when I'm doing this kind of a thing, and I'm gonna put 2+1/+1 counters on this. I like to assume the worst when I'm goldfishing, that like my opponent's interacting with me. So we don't have any card advantage here, but we do have Dimir Houseguard. It's not the time for Pestilence. It's a little too early for that to become public enemy number 1. So I think what we do is we go 1, 2, 3, transmute this for Siphon Mind. And then we're just gonna cast Siphon Mind. And the great thing is this makes, we have 3 creatures now in the graveyard, so we can spinning, or 3 cards in the graveyard, so we can Spinning Darkness. 1, 2, 3. There it is. So yeah, like mana is just great. And I think in this case here, we probably need to hold back. We're gonna have to block, but I think we're able to keep it. We probably goad next turn, and we're gonna go Swamp into paying 3 for Charcoal Diamond, drain 1, 2, 3 for Ornithopter, and yeah. And then I think we just sit here with Go for the Throat and Spinning Darkness. Like there's no reason to get aggressive here. Yeah, this is a good opening hand. Yep, so we can't keep this. This is a 1-lander. This is a no-lander, so we're going to go to 6. Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, I think it is. Like this almost feels like a better version of Gary. You know, it's like Gary relies on you having all this stuff in play, which kind of makes you like hesitant to swing. It makes you like, you just have to be more careful, and it can kind of bend your deck in weird ways where you're like, how do I get the most devotion? You know, ooh, big devotion. But it's like in reality, you just need to play Gary and a bunch of good black stuff. And in this deck, we're playing Parasite on turn 1, and we just immediately start doing what Gary does for every spell we have, regardless of whether it has devotion. So yeah, I think this is kind of scary. I fully agree. So I think in this hand right here, we probably throw back the Innocent Blood and we just keep the ramp because we have the Cranial Plating. Although we could like tuck the Cranial Plating as well. But I think because this is much more unique than this, so I think we put back the less unique thing. So we bottom that, draw for turn, go turn 1, Parasite, surprise, surprise. This is what I was talking about, Anthony. Like I'm not memeing with this deck. I think this is actually like a very reasonable deck, and there's a small part of me that thinks that maybe it's better than Witherbloom Apprentice, which which hurts my heart because I love Witherbloom Apprentice, but it's kind of like it's just more straightforward. You don't have to like it's just way more straightforward. It's you know, yeah. Um Similar to how Third Path Iconoclast is a more straightforward Murmuring Mystic, because Murmuring Mystic also doesn't get triggers off of the mana rocks and it needs to play them. And in fact, you kind of want more than you can play because it's a 4 mana commander. And instead you just play Third Path and then you ramp and you get tokens for the ramp, you know. And yeah, the tokens aren't flying and yeah, they're not birds, so you don't get to play airborne aid and you know, there's some other stuff, but it's like there are artifacts. Your commander's 2 mana, you get red for actual removal, you get all the affinity bullshit, you get all the things that work with artifacts, and it's a human in the command zone as well. So you still get of one mind. And yeah, so I think like that's part of the epiphany here is that Thrall Parasite might just be like a better, I don't, maybe better isn't the right word, but more straightforward Witherbloom Apprentice. Witherbloom has some stuff that allows you to, I don't know. Witherbloom has its own things going on for it. Like, but yeah, seems like the table is going to have to make your life total 16. Yeah, they're gonna have to come after. Gonna have to come after me. That's for sure. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So we already drew for turn. So here for prismatic lens, and so what we can see is like as soon as turn 3, we're gonna start extorting. So like we go Bonder's Ornament, and Bonder's Ornament just seems great here because we're gonna start. We'll draw cards off Bonder's Ornament. Draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Phyrexian Rager. Draw a card. Drain. So actually, if we hadn't drained there, we would have been able to cast this, which is a shame. That's okay. We go Night's Whisper for 3. Gonna draw 2. Again, getting kind of punished there. Um, I don't. We don't want to play this for efficiency's sake. We sandbag that um, because this is so scary. Draw. Oof. Okay. So now we are definitely, and actually, I think we didn't have to discard. Okay. Siphon Mind. 1, 2, 3. No lands. Well, that's unreasonable. We'll just restart this. But like, regardless, even if this had happened, like we can just like pitch some stuff, and we could pitch this, and I don't know, pitch like Seal of Doom or something, and then just like move on with our lives. We can like do stuff. Um, this is a good hand. It's not crazy, but like this is very playable. Ooh, that made it a good hand. So we go Swamp, roll Parasite. This feels so good. Turn 1, like monocolored deck, you always play your commander on turn 1 is like Ravenous Squirrel's levels of consistency. So that's pretty interesting. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, okay. Play a land. Um, and you know, we could like so no, we go Arcane Signet and we forego that first trigger because we're gonna get the trigger on the Liliana Spectre. Untap. Yep, it's great. And I think we actually want to run out our Darksteel Citadel just to start getting the artifact count up. I don't want us to like run into. Yeah, I think that's fine. Then we go tap this. We're gonna go Liliana Spectre with Extort. And then we're going to draw. Look at this. These cheap Blood Fountain is going to be amazing here. I think what we do is go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we want to find, we're going to go 5. We want to find more stuff to do. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3. And with the Extort, we'll probably crack in. Like this, the Thrall Parasite is also like allowing us to be kind of aggressive with our creatures, right? Which is where that flying is going to be super nice. And like already we're getting to the point where this is going to be +5/+0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that is so stupid that we can just like put this on anything and just like have this like insanely powerful creature. So yeah, now we're going to go 1. But I don't think we do this right away. This is like our trap card. We're gonna go Okiba, Reckoner Raid, pay 1. And then we're gonna go, so 4 mana. We don't have anything to like defend right now. We don't have the monarch or the initiative, so I think we hold on to these and we can continue to like develop our game plan. So maybe we go Blood Fountain with Extort, like that. And like right here, if you think about it, we've got how many times have we extorted? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've extorted 4 times. Okiba Reckoner Raid hit everybody for 1. So everybody is at 25, and we're at something stupid like 40 or whatever. And then we've got 2 mana up for Doomblade if we want to. So next turn, add a counter. We get the Ornithopter. And it's funny, it's like, if you get ramp cards, that aren't, I don't know. This is just like a totally different vibe when you've got Thrull Parasite. There's so much reach on this, right? Because any card, it doesn't matter what it is, can be extorted. This seems really good. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna play the Ornithopter of Paradise. We don't really have anything going on in our hand right now, so I am actually kind of thinking that we just want to run this cranial plating out now because we don't have anything else going on. And then we can attach it to the Okiba. We can attach it to any of these. We can start pressuring. People are going to see that, and it's going to be scary. Now we have Vicious Battle Rager. So I think what we do is we go, let's just pull this down here. We go, this is going to reset. It's going to turn over. We're going to attach this to our Lilianas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So this just becomes an 8/1. It's really scary. And then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think we extort on this one because we just want to have the ability to swap the cranial plating. Go and get a swamp. And we have not played a land this turn, so we're going to replay that land. Oh, but if we know that we're going to get the land, then we do extort. And then we do this. And then we've got 2 mana up to switch cranial plating or to Doomblade something. Yeah, this is sweet. This is really cool. I'm actually really looking forward to playing this game. There's something just really satisfying about like how it's curving out really nicely, and like there's structural elements to this deck that are like unmistakably consistent. Like 17 draw spells, 24 creatures, very hard for us to die in combat, 14 ramp spells, 21 sources of removal, some nice recursion here. It's actually more than that in recursion because we also have Haunted Fengraf and we have Witch's Cottage, and we actually don't have Mortuary Mire in here yet either. Nope. Oh no, we've got the bug. There's a bug on Moxfield that'll sometimes start scrolling you endlessly. There's no cure. Okay, there we go. Back to, oh, now we're at 35 lands. Oh, we need to cut, yeah, cut 1 swamp. Okay. Anything else that we're missing here? This might just be like a really quick stream, which I don't hate. My streams tend to be kind of long, and we're trying to work on getting that number down a little bit. Hour and 14. That's something we can be proud of.